Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Geek Boots. This week's episode, we are talking about Godzilla and Toy Story. Speaking of Godzilla and the big green weenie, it's kind of like fixing all of Tokyo, only to have Godzilla show up with friends this time and just destroy everything you just worked on.
Yeah.
The insurance policy alone on Tokyo must be through the fucking roof, but whatever.
Oh my gosh. Why did that remind me of that one scene in Transformers where he's like, what do you want to have insurance on a spaceship? It's a freaking spaceship.
Yeah, well.
I mean, there are things that could go wrong on a spaceship that is not going to kill you.
Look at Fantastic Four.
Oh.
I can't tell if that's a stab at the fact of how they got their powers or just the fact the movies suck. Anyway, as we stated before, tonight's episode is about Godzilla. There will be some spoilers. Sucks to suck. If you haven't seen the movie by now. As my rating system was, it's so bad, it's good. So don't be afraid or feel bad if I spoil the whole movie for you, because it's a bad movie, but it's so bad that it's hilariously good. So, and then we'll be talking about all things Toy Story and Disney. So, yay!
Yay!
I totally, dude. Ever since Endgame, I have been totally not on the ball in terms of what movies are coming out. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait, what movie's coming out this week? Oh, holy shit!
Yeah, didn't they just announce that today?
Yeah, Endgame's okay.
Someone doesn't like to be second.
Seriously. Well,
like, am I the only one who thinks that? Like, come on.
Yes, but the other thing is, my question is, wouldn't that mean that they're not making extra money? Because if you're basically putting out a new movie, like that's not the
same.
Yeah, does it count to the same budget? Like that doesn't make sense. So I'm just like, all right, whatever.
Well, okay, so you got to think about it in like gross revenue sales. When they release the director's cut of Blu-ray or something like that, it's still the same sales.
Yeah,
it's still the same movie. It's still the same production company. It's still the same actors. I mean, so yeah, no, they're going to count it towards the same.
All I'm reading is they're not actually adding anything in the movie. It's just in scenes.
Yeah, and a new an actual end credit scene.
Yeah.
Instead of Tony working on the first Iron Man suit soundbite going on after the credits are done rolling.
Which I felt was very, very
fitting.
Poetic. Yeah. It was a great way to end the entire arc with how it started.
Correct.
But at the same time, I think a part of it is them re-releasing it right before Spider-Man, just so you kind of, because a lot of people like to rewatch things. And so I think it's more geared towards that, and people are just like, oh, they just don't want to be in second. I don't really think that's it, or we would have like had a lot more re-release of movies.
I think in my mind, I loved the movie. Don't get me wrong. Loved the movie. That being said, how many of us are probably going to go back and spend even more money on this movie to see those extra scenes?
Me.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie.
And Disney's counting on that.
I'm probably not going to.
Volunteers tribute. I'm there.
I'm probably not going to.
I've
and Disney
wanted
knows
to
that.
contribute. Yeah, I've wanted to contribute from the start, like, because just a shout out to my buddy Hugo in cosplay, British cosplayer. He's been posting on his story about how close it is, and I've been watching it through him because I don't want to get on the website all the time. And I'm looking at him like, oh my god, we are so close. And he goes, yeah, but it is slowing down real hard right now. And I'm like, shit. Because I would like to see it become the #1 movie in the world, but not to just beat Avatar. I just want it to be the #1 movie in the world. But, you know.
I think it did really good, but it's hard to not see that news and think this if this is a business move.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me, like, and I'm like trying to fight back the Disney rant that I really, really want to do, but
we can get to that when we talk about Disney later.
That's true. But yeah, like for me, like it seems more like a business move than a storytelling move.
So the budget for
Yeah.
Marvel Land's gonna be $4 million. We need to make that money. Why don't we re-release Endgame? That'll make that money real fast.
Different. The studio is
Different pots of
completely
money.
different than the parts. Different pots of money completely.
Don't ruin my joke.
I'm sorry. I've already sold.
This
my
is what
West
we're
Coast
here
to,
for.
Disney already. So I mean,
Just like
I'm part of the Disney Vacation Club. Plus, I have stock in Disney, so I'm pretty much already like into all things Disney.
Obviously. Like,
We're just
like-
gonna leave that one alone.
I know. I'm a small little part of me is going, how hilarious would it be if while the three of us are out at Disneyland hanging out and doing our thing, we
No,
just
I'm
run
gonna
into
cry.
cosplay
I'm
Jen?
just gonna cry. I'm just
Oh.
gonna cry.
Anyway, back on topic though. Godzilla.
I'm better with Disney than Godzilla.
Yeah, we know. That's why I was like, oh hey, when my goddess brought it up, I'm like, wait a minute, that's perfect because now cosplay Jenemy really has something to contribute. 'Cause guaranteed, she didn't watch Godzilla or gives a shit.
Which, to be fair,
I did
To
watch.
be fair.
to be fair, no spoilers, but you're okay with that.
Yeah.
We will take that sacrifice for you.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have been watching the Godzilla Earth anime this week, so
Oh, those animated movies are pretty dope. I
Yeah.
think the only reason why I ultimately like it though is because the fascination I have is ever since I watched Power Rangers when I was a child, I love minis and miniatures. So to have somebody even in a dressed up suit just walking around as a giant in a miniature city, it tickles my fancy. I'm like, oh, I want that so bad. Do I
You
want to be a giant?
do that.
I don't
You just
want to
wanna
be a
do that.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be a giant. I want a miniature city that I can run through and just
Correct.
break the living hell out of it and then rebuild it and do it all over again. That's what I fucking want. So
Okay.
that's
You
what I
want
love
to do
about
it in your Deadpool
Godzilla.
suit too.
so I bought those like little
Maybe.
forks and spoons, like those tiny forks, and I was like, I'm gonna have a giant party and like the little plates, and I'm gonna pretend like I'm a giant and I'm gonna eat.
There's a whole.
Can we do a
section
panel
on
about that where
God.
we're just like destroying things? Like,
Yes.
I'm
So
gonna do that.
much, yes.
Okay,
Next time
let's
I do a
all
kids and
go buy
cosplay thing, I
little
wanna do that.
things.
Oh.
Giant party. Before I
There
think
are-
it's a big party, and we're like, no, giant party.
Yeah.
There. I'm just saying, there's entire like channels on Pornhub dedicated to this kind of shit. You know
No.
that. Yes.
Rule 34.
I'm gonna have to
No.
pause this
Cool.
podcast for a minute and just do some research.
It's
No.
for science. Leave me alone.
Right? Doing it for science. No, so Godzilla. Like I said, it's so bad it's good. It's like if you take a B-rated cult classic and give it Hollywood super special effects. That's basically what this movie is, and it did all right.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the fact of they commented on a lot of background in terms of everything that is Godzilla, in terms of the lore that may or may not have even been spoken about, giving it real actual canon lore. And then there's other things that they answered, like Godzilla's this gigantic, monster, and how the fuck does he get from one place to another in the ocean so fast? And they're like, well, there's going to be a cave system. And then underneath the cave, in the cave, there's fucking a civilization, an ancient civilization that must have been like flooded. And I jokefully shouted out loud in my audience, going, "Atlantis, where's Aquaman?" Just a whole bunch of people started laughing, going, "Damn it, it's not a DC movie." I'm sorry. So, but no, it was visually stunning, visually spectacular. Certain parts just make you laugh because they're sitting there 50 feet away from Ghidorah and Godzilla fighting, right?
Mhm.
And they're stomping around and moving around, and you mean to tell me that everyone's gonna walk around like there's no vibrations on the planet? Like, hold up. These guys should be creating earthquakes as they're, doing their
They're just
thing.
walking.
Yeah, and they're just walking. And I'm just like, oh, it's nothing. That's fine. Like, what? No.
Did you
No.
not see Jurassic Park? I mean, the
Right?
T-Rex I mean, causes seismic tremors. I mean, in the water glass, you're not going to be walking around.
No, and
Exactly.
even while they're running, you would think they'd be stumbling around to run, like, but nothing. It's like it's fine. We'll just suspend reality for a moment here.
It's
Yes.
fine. We're fine.
Right.
It's all
Good to see
fine.
you here.
And then there's this point when Godzilla gets like super radiated, and
Oh, yeah.
he's just radiation is just oozing and heating off of him. He's so radiated, he's turned red instead of his normal blue. Buildings are melting due to the radiation heat. People are still walking around Godzilla, and there's no problems. And I'm just like, hold the fuck on, wait, what? So that was fucking hilarious. But the reason why I wanted to bring up Godzilla, the fact that it was a horribly bad and yet good movie, is the military are very prominent and present in this movie, and there are some parts in this movie that just make me cringe so fucking hard. So they're army, and if they're special unit or a special forces unit, that's fine and dandy. But the fact that this main character who starts off as a staff sergeant later on shows up in the movie as a warrant officer 4 made me want to punch somebody in the face. I was like, wait, no, hold on. So I had to reconvene with my
Field
dad.
promotion.
Right, and I'm like, okay, hold on. Correct me if I'm wrong. Warrant officers for like school. And he goes, yeah, that's usually how that works. Like, I could see a promotion happening, but I would see it like how it happened to my grandfather in the Army Air Force, where he basically got promoted within a day to commander. And that's fine. But to be a warrant officer, that's school related. So I'm like, wait, what? Like, make him a lieutenant, make him a black bar, something. But warrant officer? Because I'm sitting here thinking, with everything going on in Godzilla and all these monsters, I highly doubt he has time to go to school right now. Let me take a break. I need to do this exam.
Maybe he only had that last class.
Yes, yeah, there you go. And they just decided.
So, get me wrong, you'll know the Army better than I do. But for the Navy, our warrant officers, they have to be a certain rank. They have to be a E7, chief petty officer, or they have to have been an E6 long enough to have taken the exam. And it's more of a technical skill. Has nothing to do with schooling, that they've put in their time and everything like that. And it's just a different commissioning program than straight OCS.
Right. And that would totally be fine, but then that would mean that essentially the rank that is on his chest is not a warrant officer 4. It would be the first stage of the warrant officer ranking.
Correct.
There is the rare possibility that like a shit ton of warrant officers were needed, or a shit ton of them died. That would make sense for a rapid thing, but you would still have to make it to warrant officer 1.
Yes, exactly.
So like.
And on top of that, another thing, why would he be the only one? Because there was another character who was next to him the entire time, didn't get promoted at all, stayed as just a normal sergeant. Just that's it. He didn't get promoted at all, but he's right next to him the entire time fighting all this, and I'm just like, hold the fuck on, wait a minute. Yeah, that was my gripe, was just the way the military was handled in terms of their uniforms and how everything. Okay, another thing. If he's special forces, fine, but he's rocking a beard. And I'm like, wait a minute, why aren't you shaving? Like, I looked at it as more of he's assigned to this unit and this duty station due to his MOS, but I didn't really see him as so much as a special forces unit. So the fact that he was rocking a beard, I kind of looked at it more like the actor didn't want to shave because it's part of his his shtick, his persona, his look, his trade, and they probably
didn't have a military liaison on staff.
Probably.
Or maybe
So it could have been either like Navy SEALs don't usually shave or things like that.
That's only in theater.
That is in theater. Same thing with like our counterintelligence guys. They actually have a card that says like we don't have to shave for certain things. So like
those motherfuckers wear khakis and polos.
That is true, and it's awesome. No, my favorite.
Maybe he had a.
I did have someone who sent me a picture of him like in a flak jacket and a beard, and he's like, "This will never happen again." I was like, "That sucks," but I think it was more of like studio saying, "Yeah, you're good."
He had a shaving waiver.
Yeah, I was gonna say he had a shaving profile.
He was a profile for shaving. Then, he had an infection in his face earlier before you saw the movie.
Right.
The most
or
shit.
Or there is the possibility that he had the Henry Cavill shit in his claws. That he had another movie that he required to have a beard, and they just didn't have the CGI budget after making the radioactive Godzilla.
Yeah, right.
Or they just were still traumatized by Batman v Superman and going, "We're not doing that again." That looked awful.
And then I really loved. I got a real tickle out of the fact that you got all these specialists who've been educating themselves on all things Godzilla. Yet this guy who just happens to study animals and animal behavior sits there and tells them what to do. That made me chuckle. Like, it really did. Like, Godzilla's showing up, and oh my god, everybody shut down. Get the barricade up. And then the guy just comes out of nowhere and goes, "Open the gates." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say?" Yeah, like, open the gates. Just show him that we mean no harm, that we aren't a threat. That's the best way to do it. And I agree, but everyone else is just like, who the fuck is this guy? And
it's like, all that effort for nothing.
Before? Yeah, you're trying to befriend Godzilla this entire time. Why didn't you think about this? Like, so yeah, it was pretty fun. Again, I enjoyed my time at Godzilla. Would I see it again? No. I'm gonna wait till the next one comes out, because the next in the franchise is King Kong versus Godzilla. So that'll be interesting. I hope they don't change the size of Godzilla just for the sake of King Kong. Because I still think that even though King Kong is at the size he's at, I still think he's got a fighting chance. He's got the speed and agility on his side. All he has to do is climb around Godzilla and just fucking chokehold the shit out of him.
Okay, so I know you've seen it as well as I have. The Godzilla memes, which have been epic after the movie was released.
I actually like the memes better than the movie itself. Not bad.
So the one where Godzilla's coming out of the water, and he's got the nuclear sub next to him.
Yes.
And he's firing his shot up into the air. What the fuck is he standing on?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's supposed to. I mean, the ocean at that point is supposed to be over 1,000 feet deep. His legs aren't that long. And it's just just stuff like that is
furthering that too. His legs aren't that long. So even if he was like, for whatever stupid reality check, if he's kicking his feet to like be above water, his legs aren't that long to be kicking up that much of his body over water.
His tail is.
Sure.
So, you know what they say about big tails?
You're really big.
They keep you above water.
Yeah, pretty much. They're inflatable. No kidding.
Anyway, I was totally gonna. Nope, can't do it. Sorry.
So yeah, chiming in with the memes. Chiming in with the memes.
Oh.
Chiming in with the memes. Why don't we throw it over to Single Dad, because he's the only other person to watch the movies, I think. Why not? Oh, you did. Thank God. We have more people to talk about.
I'm the only one who didn't watch
it. Mine's over there squeaking. She's like, I watched it. So.
I'm important.
Well, she was mid laugh.
Right.
That was her talk mid laugh.
They call her Flipper.
Anyway, so Single Dad, throwing it to you. Your opinions on Godzilla.
Okay, so let me just go ahead and say this. When I went to see it, I was rocking a long weekend, a very, very busy weekend, and I think the night before I had gotten a grand total of about 2.5 hours of sleep. So when I went to the theater, because I'd already bought my tickets and I wasn't gonna, back out of it. hate to say it, I actually fell asleep like 3 times in it. Yep. It's not that it was a bad movie. It's not that it was a boring movie. Holy crap, I couldn't keep my eyes open. So
it was a dark, comfortable room.
It was, yes. There was AC. And I was good. But yeah, no. As for what I saw of the movie, absolutely loved it. I will say this: I kept waiting for Tyrion Lannister to pop around the corner and shoot his dad with a crossbow. So if you've seen the movie, you kind of understand where that's coming from. I enjoyed the entire the environmental aspect of it, and about how mankind as it is, and I'll get into this in a minute. Mankind as it is very rapidly destroying the planet that we're living on, and if we don't do something quickly, then we're going to, well, it's not going to be as comfortable as it is now for much longer. But having a hyper radical group that is so in touch with super secret government program, actually not even government programs, but private programs like Monarch, yeah, I don't see that happening. But as for the movie itself, it's a monster movie. You have giant monsters, and they're supposed to fight. I mean, going back to the memes, it's like, people are like, well, where's the drama? Where's the build-up? And it's like, screw you. It's a monster movie. Monsters are supposed to fight. Monsters fought in this movie. It was a good movie. So strictly on entertainment value alone, I give it a good 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. You could tell that all that they're doing with this movie is setting up the next one.
Yeah.
And that's why they purposely left King Kong out of this one. Yeah. Because if their entire premise of like the ultrasonic frequencies and talking to and calling all the Titans, the Titans, calling them all together and everything like that, that would affect King Kong too. Even though he's a primate and has higher brain function than I'm sure than the other Titans, it would still affect him. So, yeah. But we didn't see anything from him at all. So I mean, that's all it was just them setting up the next one.
They did like drop notion of not God.
Correct. I mean, they spoke about it.
Yeah, but
they talked about it. They talked about Skull Island.
Prominent character. He just shows up as like a reference point for sure.
Correct. So, but that's the thing is like they teased him and talked about him, and they talked about Skull Island, and they talked about the research being done there, but they didn't. Aside from that, they didn't say anything or do anything with him. So, so you can see that the movie is a segue into the third one, which they want to do, much akin with Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. Attack of the Clones, horrible movie, but you needed it to get into Revenge of the Sith to see what's going on with Anakin and everything like that. So. Yes, I did it, and I turned it into Star Wars reference again. That is my purpose in every episode.
I mean,
I appreciate you for that. I will say this: I always get like a little like antsy about the awesome movie that could have been Clone Wars, but no, it's okay. It's okay.
I know. It could have been so much more.
It's fine because
anyway, I don't want to get into Star Wars. I will go into Star Wars all day.
I know. all I know is come September, we're all going to Star Wars Land for a day, so that'll be fun.
Not we're all. We're going to be missing some.
I'm sending evil daggers your way.
We'll be sending pictures your way.
Right? We'll just flood the group
chat. Into the dark side.
We're just going to flood the group chat with just random photos of everything we're seeing.
We'll go live.
We'll go live.
Video chat.
I'll block Instagram that day.
Turning it now over to Mayan Goddess. Mayan Goddess, your thoughts on Godzilla?
So, I will say this: getting to see like certain monsters that I hadn't seen in a while, like those Titans, it was really cool to see. However, it was kind of like they were like, we're gonna have a monster movie, but it needs to be more than just the fight that's like 20 minutes long. It has to be like a feature film. And so then they were like, what if we get like all these cool actors and stuff like that? So they brought all these amazing actors, and then they were like, cool, fuck, we need to do a story, don't we? And so it's just like the fight itself was great, but there was like no build up to it. So like by the time the fight happened, I was like, oh, thank God we're at the fight scene. Oh, enough of this shit. Because like the story, like you had all these great actors, and you were going, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, like for me, as far as a movie goes, yeah, it's a monster movie. Yeah, there were the fight scenes, and the fight scenes that were there were beautiful. And then the story that they were trying to build was very haphazard, and it was a waste of a lot of really, really good actors and actresses and stuff like that.
Yes.
That's why they hired those actors, because they were like, we hired these really good actors to get ticket sales. Might as well give them lines.
Yeah. Like, in my mind, like the only big takeaway was, yeah, we got a battle scene. Yeah, we got actors. Fuck, we need a plot.
Yeah.
Like that was my big takeaway.
Save the environment. It's a hot button issue right now.
Yeah, it was very like the plot was just really empty. I couldn't even like as far
like
as
a
the
hot
plot
button
goes.
issue always.
Yeah, it really. It's seasonal. I would say.
Seasonal.
Usually during the summer when it's really hot.
Yeah. Usually in the summer, like right around when hurricane season goes, I don't want to lose my house again. But yeah, like it was, for me, like you could see that it was building up to another movie, and it's gonna come up with another movie, which is great. Which is, I can't say the same for The Mummy and how it destroyed the dark universe that could have been amazing and will now never happen. So it didn't do so bad. Like it didn't do The Mummy bad.
The Mummy bad.
But it wasn't terrible.
Like 1 week after that movie came out, my favorite meme was when they took the scene between the characters when they're across the Nile, and Benny Rick and Benny. Hey, O'Connell, looks like I got all the horses. Hey, Benny, looks like I'm on the right side of the river. And he's like, shit. They memed it, superimposed Tom Cruise's face.
Your own namesake. Are you kidding me?
Tom Cruise's face onto Benny.
Who you are. Simba forgot who he was.
Tom Cruise's face over Benny, and it says, hey, what's his name?
I got a new movie.
Yeah, it looks like I got the new movie franchise, and then he responds going, hey, Tom, looks like my movie's still better. And then Tom's just like, fuck you.
So,
yeah.
Here's the thing with The Mummy. Like, they had really great potential. The actress who plays The Mummy.
That was my favorite part.
She was amazing. And then they were like, yeah, we're going to make this movie called The Mummy.
And put Russell Crowe in it.
The Mummy.
Yeah. Russell Crowe, who apparently plays Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Right. Stop!
What are you? No.
What are you doing?
Like, yeah. And like, I was really looking forward to that movie, not because of the whole Tom Cruise part. I could give two shits about that part, which unfortunately was all I got. But like, it was going to be the start of bringing back like these beautiful Hollywood classic monster wolves that we haven't seen in a long time, and give them a great spin, give them the backstory that they never got in the 20s because no one gave a shit about that. Well, in the 30s and 40s and stuff. But
in the
like,
20s.
Well, yeah, that beautiful thing that could have been. No, I hate to break it to you, Tom, but
you killed it.
Yeah, you totally killed it. And so, in that regard, back to Godzilla, it wasn't The Mummy bad, where it's going to destroy the franchise. There's going to be another movie that comes out of it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
as bad as it was. It did really well at the box office, actually. So there will be another movie. It's gonna continue. No, it's funny that you say all of that, because I had a lot of people complain via the polar opposite. They were all like, God, it's just a movie about a couple of monsters fighting and blowing up the building and such. How lame and stupid, blah blah blah. And I'm over here like, no! Welcome to a Godzilla movie? Like
that's kind of what Godzilla's about.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
I did. last comment though, I did really appreciate their ending, because the original actor who's been in that suit for like what 13, 15 movies or whatever,
Yes.
he passed away during the filming of this movie, so they gave homage to him. That was really awesome.
Well, you gotta give credit to your roots, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's nice that they did that. Because
He was the animation double. They put him in one of those animation suits, and that's how they did it, just to keep on the flavor. No, just kidding.
In a mocap suit.
Right, in a mocap suit. Speaking of
you
mocap
live as Godzilla,
suits,
you die as Godzilla.
Right. Speaking of mocap suits, how awesome would it be if in Toy Story they did mocap suits? And that's how we're gonna transition into Toy Story, so the cosplay Genevieve can say something on this podcast.
I've been saying a lot. I've had lots of
Interaction.
Thank you.
Interaction,
interjection.
interjection.
Interchanges.
Words.
That's the word I was trying
Oh wait,
to
no.
say. Interjections.
Yes.
Yeah, I
No
don't
judgment.
know.
No judgment. I mean, if that's the way you go, that's the way you go.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, no, so I have been like, due to Endgame and like so much going on in life, I'm like, wait, Toy Story is coming out this week? Holy shit. So stay tuned for a spoiler review next week, because we got to do that. I mean, it's fucking Toy Story.
Well, it was just funny because you were like, yeah, we're going to talk about Toy Story. And I was like, crap, I haven't seen it yet. And then I was like, oh, there's a reason why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Plot twist.
I watched one interview that had some degree of spoilers to it, which was simply EW or ET, yeah, whatever that channel is. They had the whole cast, and that's when I found. That's when I found out Keanu Reeves is in this movie.
Yes,
I'm
he
like,
is.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't been up to date on this whole entire franchise.
He's been in the ads, dude.
Yeah, I haven't paid attention. to
Which,
it.
by the way, Not a Hepburn says hi, everyone, and
Hey,
says
Aubrey.
somebody get Tom Cruise some Legos.
Okay, I'm waiting. Oh wait, I'm on a diet. I'm not allowed to have any Legos.
Wait, what?
It is your fault. Anyway, well now I need the Legos. What the fuck was I gonna say?
Legos. Toy Story. Keanu Reeves is in it.
Yeah. So Keanu Reeves. Yeah. So I was checking out the interview with the whole cast, and they got to see the pre-screening, obviously. And the interviewer said that, you know, every movie's got such a heart-wrenching, tear-jerking, oh my god, smile kind of ending to them, and this movie outdoes the last one. And I'm like, how do you outdo?
How?
What?
Like Andy leaving. How do you
Yeah.
do that?
Right? So I'm very excited to see what happens, but also at the same time, I'm like, do I have to? Because I'm not sure.
I don't want to cry.
Yeah.
Damn you, Pixar.
Right.
Pixar's really good at pulling at the heartstrings.
Right?
They like,
Oh,
and it really has to do with their character development.
not
Like
even that. Not even that. But even like the shorts that they have.
I know.
At the
They
beginning,
don't even have any
they
words in them. And you're like,
No words, no. I mean, and it's just, holy shit, you got a 2-minute, like, freaking small little mini film, and you're totally invested with the characters.
right.
Like, we started with just the cutesy of the old man playing chess with himself, and then
Right.
someone showing him playing chessing, and that was fine. And then we get that other one that came over where the woman was trying to make food, if I remember correctly, and it gave birth to life. And then in the span of a
Wow.
day, watched the food grow up and then decide to, like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And then it turns out it was just a manifestation of the fact that she misses her son.
Yeah.
And I was like, motherfucker, I'm
Oh my
crying.
god, did you see the
I'm
one about like
crying.
the little homeless girl who ends up dying at the end?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
And the dog.
What? No,
The
the
dog
dog
and the
one.
cat relationship too. They've made a lot, and it because it's one of those things where you either relate with the character or you connect with the character. They've got little quirks in it, so that's what made like a good chunk of their movies have been just amazing.
They make them human.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So
I need another Monsters Incorporated because I'm sorry, but I'm now at the point where when I try and watch the original one, the animation behind it is just hard to watch now. I could really use another one, and they bring back Boo. That
Yeah,
would be cool.
I would like to see her again.
Yeah.
I think if they brought her back, it would kind of ruin the whole sacrifice they made.
Could you redo that, but rolling the tongue in there? Thank you.
I guess.
I can't wait.
But he did get to see her again, so it's not like
yeah.
And there was that beautiful little bow. So it's like if Boo comes back, it's like, okay, what's the conflict going to be, kind of thing.
She didn't say she had to come back. I just want to.
No. Boo is a mom.
Yeah, Boo is a mom.
Boo is a mom.
Boo's child comes into play. That would be dope.
Boo's child comes into play, and Sully gets assigned the daughter.
Yes.
Well, technically, it's Mike Wazowski now, but
Mike Wazowski.
Okay.
That was fucking perfect.
Mike Wazowski. So this is where I kind of have to break into my Disney rant, and I apologize.
Go for it.
Okay.
We have a whole half hour left on the podcast. Might as well.
Okay. So here's the trend that I'm seeing, and this is kind of going with the Toy Story 4 thing, even though that's more Pixar than Disney. So I kind of give them a pass on that. They're pumping out less and less than before, and a lot of them are the same. And a lot of it is kind of like, okay, here's a movie, but here comes the next one, kind of thing. So like, we've got Toy Story 2 coming out. We've got Toy Story 4 coming out. Frozen 2 coming out. We've got, we just had another Pirates of the Caribbean last year, was it?
Well, you have to think about the fact that
Aladdin, we've got Beauty and the Beast,
4
we've
years
got
to do these computer animated movies.
That's true.
So of course they have to. If Frozen didn't do well and they're like, okay, well we can scratch this, but it did so well, they have to say, okay, well we're gonna do another one. And then like kind of pump it up because it's still going to take them 4 years before they can get it out.
True, but usually they don't do theatrical releases. Most of the sequels that have been coming out went straight to DVD or Disney Channel or things like that. The problem that I'm coming across where it's starting to get a little jaded for me are the live action reenactments and lack of new stories and worlds and characters and stuff. So for me, like Beauty and the Beast was really hard for me to watch. Aladdin that came out, I very much appreciated, but at the same time, like I could kind of see like we're playing it safe now. We're playing it, and in the same regards of what I mentioned not too long ago, where it's like we know the same thing with even going back to the Avengers coming back out. It's like Disney knows, hey, if we pump this out, people are going to show up. So it's like at the cost of creativity,
but they're making money and then can put out new things.
Yeah,
and
we hate money, so
it's not like they're putting things out that they don't think are going to be good. They're still putting storylines behind these and still making them something because they wouldn't have kept Toy Story going if it didn't have so much.
And that's why I'm okay with Toy Story 4.
And to be
like
fair,
So
I didn't get him. Anyways, or the very first Disney animated series second movie to ever come out into theaters was Ralph Breaks the Internet. So that's only been very recently that we've gotten sequels in through the Disney animated series, Disney animated studios. Pixar started it.
Mm-hmm. With Toy Story 2.
Yeah, but Disney animated studios has never done it until
now. And I'm gonna say this, Mayan. You talk about like not having original stories and not having anything new to say or anything like that. I'm going to actually call you out on this one. As a Maleficent cosplayer, we had that wonderful live action movie with Angelina Jolie, and we've got a second part coming to that one. So they are taking the traditional stories and they're twisting them to see it from a different perspective.
And
So
I think we're getting more story.
Right. So, and I say, you know, I love you, but I'm going to say shame on you for your little mini rant because they are coming out with great things and they are coming out with great stories. And if they're going to make money, hey, let them make money. Keep entertaining us. That's
I mean,
and
why
I'm
we
not
try to
saying
do
that
it.
I'm not going to watch it because I absolutely am.
Yeah.
It's just it's getting.
Well, you say it's getting
tiresome.
old, but it's just started.
I mean,
it is just started. It's not something that they've ever really done. Yes, Pixar has done it, but they're a different animation studio. They don't always count in the same Disney-esque. But I mean, Wreck-It Ralph 2 just came out. I mean, that, and as being the second one, yes, we've just started live action, and that started with what, Cinderella back a long time ago?
I don't know if it was Cinderella or Jungle Book.
Cinderella came out first.
Okay, so we've got Cinderella, we've got Jungle Book, we've got Beauty and the Beast, we've got Dumbo, we've got Aladdin.
Lion King.
Lion
King
King is coming out.
And okay, so Disney, well, any publication, when you put out a publication, it gets on a timeline. This publication can be public and you own it for such amount of time. If you don't do anything new with that publication, it goes into the open market. Basically meaning anybody can mess with it. Anybody can, the public domain. And Disney is redoing a lot of these into live action so they keep their rights. This is where it started from. It's a brilliant idea. It hurts future artists, but it's brilliant for Disney. So I have a love-hate relationship with this.
I mean,
yeah. They also tread the line into a lot of publications that they couldn't quite get. Like, for example, since you mentioned Maleficent, that one's very much like Wicked, which Disney wanted, they couldn't get. Right. And so they were like, okay, well, let's do one that's almost exactly like it so that if Wicked does come out, and granted, it came out on Wicked's 10th anniversary, and they were planning on doing something like live action movie style about it, and they couldn't because Maleficent came out. So it's like, it's very, like, the stories are great, yet, and at the same time, it's like, okay, well, now it's like, does every studio have to do this now? Like, is that, and like,
well, I don't think they would have continued it if they didn't do so well.
Yeah, they do really well in China.
And
why do you think they're still coming out with Pirates of the Caribbean movies? It's not because
I'm huge in Japan.
Because Johnny Depp had gotten broke and needed money.
And they do really well.
That last one sucked.
In China. He's
that
really
last one
the last one.
The last one was horrible.
Like, it came
should have
through
ended
and I
where they
didn't like
ended
pay
it.
attention to it.
But,
you know, there is that. People do love them and people do watch them, and I really enjoyed them. Like, Cinderella is still probably really high up there, and that one didn't get as much publication as, but it was like the first. They were trying to test it out. They didn't do all the musical numbers, which is one of the reasons why people didn't like it, and I really did like it. But
aren't you doing Mulan?
They're going to do Mulan
without the musical aspect. Sorry, that just reminded me.
I don't know if they're going to do it with or without. I haven't heard. I just knew they were going to do it. They just released who's playing her.
Okay.
And I also like that they're doing them more accurate. They're doing them more.
Yeah.
They're doing the right colored for people. That's the awful way to say it, but and I like that. But then they can also turn that around and put more into the parks as meet and greets. they can get better outfits and people aren't going to yell at them like they, when they changed a couple of the outfits and they got a lot of flack for that. Well, now they have a movie, and so now they can what?
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah,
that count was terrible. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm like when they changed.
They cut that one.
Changed Jasmine and Mulan's outfits in the parks.
Yes.
It was a huge uproar, but they went more historically accurate, still keeping with the color theme, still keeping with the Disney theme going, but people lost their minds anyways. And then when they came, now that they're re-releasing these movies and they can keep their outfits a little more historically accurate, they can keep this look that they actually want now because, you know better, you do better. And so now they can do it in the parks and do those different looks without people losing their minds so much. Even they're going to do it anyways because they don't really care.
Yeah, they're going to do it anyway.
People are still going to go to Disney. It's not like...
Yeah, at this point, don't get me wrong, I love Disney, and I'm literally about to premiere a Jasmine outfit in a couple weeks anyway, which, God, I need to start eating healthy for that. Dude, I've been eating so many wings.
I mean, as the genie, aka Will Smith, put it in one of my favorite songs in Summertime, if it ain't broke, then don't try to fix it. I guess my 2 cents would have to be it can be tiresome that's the same thing over and over again, but I mean, if you've got the right algorithm or whatever you want to call it and it works, then it works. Don't change it until it gets so old that people aren't coming. Then yes, then promptly change it. But right now, people are eating this up like crazy. And
I think, I was where you were, where at first I was like, why are they releasing all these live actions? We've already got the story. But as I've been watching them, I've enjoyed the more intricate storyline. It's not a kid's cartoon anymore.
I will say I have the twists that they've added to it, and I think they've figured out the formula, with the exception of Beauty and the Beast, which I don't want to ever talk about, if I start talking about it, I will never stop.
It's not my favorite either, but I enjoyed it. But it's not my favorite of the release so much so far. I still like Cinderella better.
Yeah,
Aladdin is probably the first one that kind of maybe beat out Cinderella. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. My one fear though is that it's you can kind of see the formula, and so it's my fear is that Disney's going to keep pushing it until it's dead, aka the latest Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which just
I mean, not everything lasts forever.
Yeah, it's
Natasha said that best.
Anyway.
There was my moment of sadness. We're moving on now.
Sorry.
I mean, they'll figure it out. I mean, Disney will, if that formula that they're using, if it starts to waver, they're usually very quick to be like, all right, change. Yeah. Let's change this up real quick. Let's finagle something. I mean, because if you actually start looking at the ones that have released, it has been a big change.
Yeah. I just missed since we mentioned Pirates of the Caribbean, I just missed the beauty that was the dangerous risk of the original Pirates of the Caribbean movie, because everything up until then was that was very much a risk, and it came out beautifully. The fact that they were having zombie pirates, that was not that was very much unheard of, but it came out beautifully. And so I think that's what I really miss about that portion is there was that risk, there was that danger of taking that step into a new direction and seeing that pay off. And so that I think that's maybe what I'm missing more. But
it's not like they're done making their own creative movies either. These are just movies they're doing with other movies. I mean, Disney is huge right now. I mean, it's pretty much 50% of the movies that are coming out.
Soon it will be the one republic of Disney. There will be no countries.
Yay! I
And
like
then
Disney's policy.
the happy
We
so
will
small
then
hour.
conquer the galaxy.
I'm okay with this, you know.
So,
I
Anyway,
love Disney. I
Toy
can't wait to
Story
hang out.
4.
Oh yeah,
Well-
we went into Disney politics instead of.
well,
Sorry.
one
I'm
last
sorry,
thing
I can talk Disney all day. I know
One-
so
It's
much.
hard to
Disney,
talk about Disney when we all love Disney so much.
but I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
we've dominated the conversation.
but you also have to be realistic about it. And if anybody here watches the show Adam Ruins Everything, they did a great episode specifically on Disney and
Yes,
how
yes, they
Disney is ruining the market for everybody else.
That's why I said I've got a love-hate relationship with Disney,
Right.
mostly love, but I do think a lot of the things that they are doing
Yeah.
is for money, and I don't
Correct.
like that corporate Disney, but I like everything else that they stand for.
Correct.
Yeah.
The creation, the imagination, and everything like that. I'm totally for it. But the fact that they literally built an empire on taking other people's work out of the public domain, putting their stamp on it,
And then
and
not
now-
laughing it back.
and now not allowing it to go back into public domain.
Mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Mine.
So, I mean,
And then
if you look-
they're like holding
Yeah.
for in future.
correct.
And so yes,
when
you
we're
are
at that.
absolutely that
So
is yeah.
if you ever watch that episode, I highly recommend it. Adam Ruins Everything, and it's
Pretty
literally
much just binge
Disney
that, like,
ruins everything.
just binge every Adam Ruins Everything, like all
Oh,
of
yeah.
it
that's fantastic.
all the time,
Oh, yeah.
because we need reminders of how this world works, and
That and Penn and Teller bullshit. I love
Yeah.
that.
Penn and Teller bullshit. Thank you. Like I love their I absolutely love that episode about
Gun control?
vaccines. Well, gun
Oh,
control
yes.
too, but vaccines.
Yes.
That was fucking hilarious. Where they put up a wall and he goes, measles, blah, blah, blah. He starts throwing out all these diseases. And he's like, so if it did create autism, which it fucking doesn't.
Let me just go on my rant really quick, because my child is autistic, and that
Yes.
is your pillar of what is awful to have. So everybody who says vaccines cause autism is basically saying my child is the worst child ever to have. They would
Right.
rather have a dead child than my child. And I'm sorry, that's my rant for the day, but that makes me so angry.
I think that was a
And I
rant, but
really
more
wanna
of
give you a hug right now.
statement. But
We
yes,
love you.
yes, we love
And
you.
your kid's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your
That-
kids are
yeah.
awesome.
But now back to Toy Story.
My child did go see Godzilla. I did not. He did.
I would just simply state, I'm excited for it. Obviously, I think God, I don't remember how old I was when I watched the first Toy Story movie.
Out. Holy crap. Hold on. I'm
in the
Googling this.
Oh, it was back in the early 90s. That's all I know, is because I was really young when that movie came out. Pause for a second, ladies and gentlemen, as we do some research, because we are just winging it. 1995.
Oh,
Oh,
95.
it's 5. Okay, I thought it was
Me
4.
too!
I'm
Twinsies!
I graduated high school.
Fuck you. I'm just kidding.
God. Oh my god.
Thanks for rubbing it in our faces.
Speaking of America's ass,
Ha ha ha! Gotta love that, Jake.
uh,
Oh, God. He's fighting. He's
Okay, so
fighting
my
He is
thoughts
fighting.
of-
and risking his life so that we can talk shit about how much we love Disney.
From a chair and a desk. Overseas. Watching Beavis and Butthead.
yep.
Don't be jealous. You
Air
didn't jump
Force
right
at
there.
its finest, right there.
That's fine.
Let me
I had-
tell you.
I had pornography in my barracks. I didn't need Beavis and Butthead.
Wait, so is Beavis and Butthead porn?
It can
I
be.
bet
I'm sure there is one.
Rule
I-
34, right? Like,
Rule 34, you're right. I don't want to question that. I don't want to know the answer to that.
Anyways, Toy
I'll
Story.
send you a link when I find it.
Oh god, no, don't do it, don't do it. Oh god. Oh god, no.
In the group.
No.
I don't
Ladies
think
and-
this is. I don't think this is the Toy Story that I meant to download. This is
Toy
the wrong
Story-
Woody and Buzz.
Whoa.
Let's go
Toy
back.
Story 4 on torrent already? That's so crazy. Download. Wait,
Wait,
what is he
wait.
doing to Buzz Lightyear? No,
What is Bo
Andy,
Peep?
no!
No, back to Toy Story. Back to Toy Story.
Welcome to a military podcast.
We take everything that's sweet and innocent and wonderful in the
And
world.
we take our
and-
big
Oh,
green weenies
no.
and fuck the shit out of it.
Oh
yeah, so
There it is.
there it is. Yeah. Mm. Brings a whole new meaning to the name Woody. I can't tell if she's laughing or crying.
She's hyperventilating.
Either way, it's in Spanish.
I don't even know what that was.
I don't know.
We don't know either, but we're just glad to be a part of it.
Oh.
That's that ha 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 when your Mexican friends type it in a group chat when it's J-A-J-A-J-A.
It really does sound like that too. Oh my god.
I'm so glad I have family like y'all.
Oh, I think that broke me. Sorry. Woody, put away your Woody. Okay, sorry. Hi, everyone.
That's
Welcome
my
back.
Woody.
Missed you guys.
Welcome back.
There's a reason he upholds the law.
With
She almost went there and had to stop herself.
There's a snake in my boot, but that's
To
not a snake.
infinity and beyond.
That's no
That's
snake.
not your boot.
That's no snake in the boot.
oh man.
Oh.
When you want to talk about Toy Story 4, but you can't avoid Rule 34. Oh.
I know, we've tried to talk about Toy Story 4 for like an hour now.
We went through like politics and other movies.
But when Bo Peep had a night,
To be continued next week.
when Bo Peep had a night with Woody, that's why she left. She'll never be the same again.
So that's why she has to use a cane.
Oh shit! Welcome to a
Welcome
military podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I guess it's a staff and cane. I don't know what it is. Anyway.
Oh God, no.
It's
Yeah.
a shepherd's crook.
So
Yeah.
let's end this podcast by just talking about our favorite of the three. Why don't I spin it off to Cosplay Jenemy, your favorite Toy Story movie?
Toy Story 2,
Yep.
Why?
because it's the best.
Because it's the best.
And see.
Because I said so, motherfucker. Mayan Goddess. Your favorite Toy Story movie?
I love Jesse coming in and the whole gang and doing the whole.
Yes.
You know, the whole storyline itself was just. It was like next level instead of. I think Toy Story 1 was like petty fighting and this weird thing. I enjoyed it, didn't like it that much. Toy Story, if Toy Story never went on, I probably never would have been a fan of the whole genre completely. I hated Toy Story 1. Mind you, it came out when I was babysitting, and so every child I went to's house was watching Toy Story 1. I was like,
oh, so this is your Finding Nemo, because when my nephew was growing up, he would play it all the time, and he would run around the house singing Just Go Swimming, and he wouldn't even be watching it. He just wants it on the TV while he runs around and does bullshit.
oh no, they would always want to like focus in, because if I could do other things, it would have been fine if it was background noise. But no, I never liked it. But I dated this guy who was like obsessed with Toy Story. And the first one had already come and gone. We were in high school at this point when the second one came out. And he was like, "You have to go to this movie with me." And I was like, So finally I went because, I was a high school girl and I would go with guys. And and so I went and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I was like, "Okay, you win. We can watch Toy Story." And then I still go back to Toy Story 2. I hardly watch Toy Story 1 to even this day. But I'll watch Toy Story 2 over and over again. Toy Story 3 is pretty good too, but I still go back to Toy Story. Toy Story 3 is too emotional.
Yeah.
At the end of your date night, did you go to Infinity and Beyond?
No. I was in high school. I was a good kid.
That shepherd's hook afterwards.
I was a good kid in high school.
Oh, so you didn't play with his Woody?
I did not play with anybody.
I'm sorry. Now that we've started it, I can't fucking stop.
That's what she said?
Yes. Good one. Yep, that was a good one. Turning now to my
Grandma's Boy. I don't know. You ever seen Grandma's Boy?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't stop. I can't stop.
I just can't stop. I'm so sorry.
Oh my god, that's one of my favorite movies ever.
And now turning it to Mayan Goddess, your favorite Toy Story and why?
I would probably say 2 as well, followed closely by 1, because that, if you were annoyed by, every person that you babysat wanting to watch it over and over again, I would have been one of those that would
you would have been
hate
one
it,
of my
because I loved it. I watched it over and over and over again. But I think what really cemented it for me was 2, because it was like, cool, we've got this cool female character called Jessie, and Woody's not alone, and it was really cool. So that for me, it kind of was like, hey, women can be cool too, because Bo Peep was just kind of Woody's +1, yeah. And then Miss Potato Head was Mr. Potato Head's +1, and that was kind of it. So, so that for me, it was just cool, I can be cool too, and Jessie's backstory and the song that came with it, just oh, this is great. And then if I really, really want to cry, I would put 3 on.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That one's too emotional. Even my children are get halfway through the movie and they're I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah, it's really heartbreaking. So yeah, that's why I like 2. It just kind of as far as the Toy Story series is concerned, that was for me, that was my, I don't want to say feminist rising kind of moment, but it was kind of a, hey, I can be a badass too. Yeah.
Yay.
I feel left out in terms of me being a child compared to you being a child, because when I was a child, I put a blanket over my head and ran into a wall. I didn't give a shit about what was being represented on films.
That explains so much about you.
That explains the army.
You're right. Oh shit! Oh my god, that looks so nice. So for the listeners, why we're getting all excited is because Cosplay Jenemy decided to pull out her hat, her
my Jessie hat.
Yeah, her Jessie hat. And honestly, it looks gorgeous from here.
Good.
It is so beautiful. It's too bad we won't see it in September.
Dagger.
Oh,
shit. Single dad. Oh, and now she's pulling out the wig. And single dad, it's your turn, boss.
Dude, that's just mean.
I'm gonna show up. I'm just gonna show up.
Please, no, honestly, please do. I hope we're nagging you enough that you find some degree of money and go, you know what, I'm gonna fucking show up. Fuck it.
It's fuck you, I'm here too.
You could stay with Justine and I. That's fine.
Screw Spock-on. My best friend would kill me. God, my best friend would kill me.
So I'm gonna go with 2 as well. 1 set up a great friendship and everything like that, but 2 cemented that friendship and everything like that. And also, I mean, holy crap, Frasier. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I've always been a big fan of Kelsey Grammer. So.
Well, all right then. Yeah, it took me a second. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking? Oh yeah,
It was
Kelsey
such
Grammer.
a good.
Yeah.
So, my turn, I guess. I'm gonna be the one odd man out and say the first one was actually my favorite. I got a lot more childhood memories with Toy Story, and the fascination behind the scene alone where we get to meet Buzz Lightyear for the first time is arguably my all-time favorite scene of that whole movie, and which is why I love the movie so much, probably more than any of the other ones. And like until I see Toy Story 4, and we'll see what happens. Although I do appreciate the way they ended Toy Story 3, so it's like, well, what are we gonna do now? But I appreciated the whole learning to become best friends through our differences, educating one another, helping each other out, and just casting each other's side, blah blah blah. That whole usual drama that's in my life now. But I really loved Buzz Lightyear as a whole, and my fondest memory was here in Washington. We've got the little islands just across the pond, kind of, and we took the ferry. And I asked my dad if I could hold the Christmas present that he had gotten for me. And I'm like, what is it? I shake it, and it goes, to infinity and beyond. And I go, well, I know what I got for Christmas. Can I open it now? My dad goes, no, I don't care if you know what it is. You have to wait till we're at the grandparents. I'm like, but, and I started like moving my hand around the package. I found the hole in the plastic where you could press the button. So I just started pressing the button through the package over and over and over again to keep hearing Buzz Lightyear's voice. So really good memories. I loved the first one. I enjoy all of the Toy Story movies, but the first one hits home because it's the first one. It's got some nostalgic value to it, and yeah, I really love Buzz Lightyear and his growth within the first movie alone. So
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yes, but then you get in Toy Story 2, you get him to get reprogrammed, and it's amazing.
Yes.
I will say this though, him being what was it, Mrs. Potts, or when he was like,
oh yes, He's
that was
sitting there
hilarious.
without an arm. Buzz, you want to lend me a hand? Rolls over the arm that's been detached, and he goes, ah.
That was awesome. It's okay. Last Element is there with you. He also says number 1 is his favorite too for similar reasons.
Yay.
Oh, he was Mrs. Nesbit was his
Mrs.
name.
Nesbit.
Yes.
Nesbit.
Right.
I think I was just a little too old, but not quite old enough when the first one came out.
You were in like the rebel teen years where you're like, screw everything that's capitalist and popular.
Can we get a Toy Story? Can we get a Toy Story 5 movie where Sid comes back and tries to?
He was back.
He was back in 3, wasn't he?
3, yeah.
I have to rewatch that again.
He's a trash guy.
Yeah.
Oh, was he? I did not get
He's a
that.
trash collector.
Yeah.
He's a trash collector. He's amazing.
Well, I know what I'm doing. I'm not even watching the first one. I'm just gonna watch Toy Story 3 to see this little bit
And cry.
Just the very beginning, because don't watch the rest of it. About halfway through, just turn it off.
I can take it. I can take the tears.
Like, this is too much. And I was like, these are toys. What am I doing?
So, funny story, and it just cements Toy Story into the lexicon of our family. My boys and I, whenever we say goodnight to each other, or I have to drop them off at their moms, or whatever, we're going to school, we've worked out hand signals and everything like that, because I'm military and I'm just fucking weird like that, and I'm cool. I'm okay with that. But
cool.
That's one of the ones that we do. And I'll actually, like, when they're turning around, we could do an air hug and we'll just hug each other and everything like that. But another one is I just signal, I point to my eye and then make a heart, and then heart, and then point at them, and then 2, make the infinity sign, and beyond. And literally, whenever we're saying goodbye, that's something that we do. And like the other day at my son's graduation, his commencement from 5th grade going into 6th grade, he's going to a new school. He was standing up on stage and everything like that, and I happened to catch his eye, and I just did that. And I mean, I could see, like, the little tear in his eye because he knows he's growing up and everything like that. I mean, he's a big, strong 11-year-old, but it's still something that's small, but a phrase that means so much. That I love you to infinity and beyond, just means so much to our family, and it has brought us together through so much. So yeah, we love Toy Story. I mean, it's a great movie.
It's so great.
Well, you're ending this
Brings
podcast
generations
just like Toy Story 3 and making us cry. I see how it is.
Oh my god.
Happy
the way-
tears.
Yeah.
Happy tears.
By the way, Nietzsche says the bald guy looks cool. So.
Thanks.
You're cool.
Thank
He's like,
you.
wait,
Oh, no,
that's
I'm just kidding.
You're like,
The
wait,
bald
what?
guy.
We're all checking our hair like, wait. I'm the
I'm
bald
still
guy?
there. I'm still there.
Is there someone in my screen I don't know about? Am I being haunted? What's up?
It's the call's coming from inside the house.
And now I need to see that movie. How much time do I got? Not enough time for a movie. Fuck. All right. Let's see what it is. Maybe for that movie though. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode. Godzilla and Toy Story. Thing they have in common is a dinosaur.
Thanks.
I'm trying to figure out the name of this episode, but I think I'm just gonna call it euphemisms because it's happened a lot in this fucking episode.
How Rule 34 can hit everything.
Just call it Rule 34.
Rule 34.
Rule 34.
Rule 34.
This episode.
From
Episode 8.
Godzilla and Toy Story.
Toy Story Rule 34.
Godzilla plus Toy Story equals Rule 34.
Yes!
I wonder if they have Toy Story things at Geeky Sex Toys.
Oh, they do.
They do?
yeah.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see Toy Story characters survive Godzilla, like actual Godzilla. Can you just imagine that just for a second? That'd be amazing. Get the studios on this, even though we don't have enough of a reach in terms of our listeners. Get the studios on this.
Disney, if you're watching, I
Yes.
apologize for everything
You're
that I
so
said
sorry.
earlier.
I'm sorry. Don't hate me. Let me come back.
Disney, if you're listening to this
love
later
you,
on,
sponsor me.
I apologize for nothing, but I love you nonetheless.
Ignore everything I said. Please hire me. I'll do anything. I'm kidding.
Anything.
I'll do anything. I will
She's
do
a
anything.
she's a Marine. She'll do anything.
I will do anything to work for you.
To infinity and beyond. She'll play with your Woody, Andy.
Does it taste like a crayon?
It's about to. And on that note, this has been an episode of Geek Boots Military Nerds. Catch us next week when we talk a spoiler review of Toy Story 4 and get into more Disney politics, I'm sure. Yeah, I am Tom Cruise, your host, Tom Cruise Cosplay. With me as this episode has been Single Dad.
What's up?
Cosplay Jenemy.
Hey,
And the Dolphin.
We
Thank
have
you
a
all.
mermaid too.
Yeah, we have a mermaid too. Please donate to our Ko-fi. Like us on Facebook and Instagram. Give us all the loves. The more love we get, the more we can pump out some t-shirts, stickers, and unit patches, which are
did
all
we just turn into
currently in
hookers?
yes.
Okay.
Which are all currently in the works. And find us on the street corner where apparently we're hooking.
The more you give us, the more we give you.
And sign up for our bonus Snapchat content.
Where it's just Single Dad and Tom Cruise washing their beards. And sometimes my
My
goddess.
fingernail.
Yes, because that's a beard. Okay.
The joke is that you're a Marine and you have a beard.
I shave.
Yeah.
Getting
I
in
got
there.
no-
Mustaches count.
Mustaches count.
I got no shame in my game. My shaving game.
My
I've
shaving
been working
game.
so hard on my mustache. I can't quite keep up with Single Dad over here.
Nobody
That beard is
cares.
luscious.
Dude. I got hormone issues. I can grow it.
Wait, what?
And on that note, we're ending this episode in 3, 2, 1.